I have a very important question for each and every one of you. Do you remember? Do you remember? 'Cause I remember. Good day, ladies and gents, my name is Helzo and this is DiscussThing, and the Rings of Power never ceases to amaze me even more, but not in the right direction. I just finished watching episode 4, and just like the previous 3, I had to watch it again and again just to have any sense of what the fuck I just watched. This episode continues the absolute trashy trend of being so interesting that you just can't keep anything to memory. I haven't nearly watched the entire episode and I already forgot what had happened before that. So I had to scroll back and just make sense of the things that I saw. Before I continue this video, word of caution, there will be spoilers. I will be talking about the entire plot of the 4th episode. So if you don't want any spoilers of this magnificent show, I suggest you don't watch it today. For the rest of you, let us begin. So the episode starts with Galadriel and Elrond walking towards their mission to go to Eregion. Yeah, the hard R's are absolutely necessary because they consist of around 40% of the entire dialogue throughout the series. And they're of course bickering and dick measuring throughout the entire set who has the more power, the more authority, and how they don't trust each other and they nearly hate each other. Elrond is untrustworthy and Galadriel is untrustworthy and obsessed with the ring. Pretty standard stuff, absolutely amazing. Skip. Several uninteresting skips later, we arrive at the broken bridge, which apparently no mortal force can do, and of course it's Sauron, and they have the option to go north or to go south. Now does that sound any bit familiar to you? After consulting with her precious ring, she takes charge and says that they shouldn't go south, they should go north. But of course, in the effort for Elrond to present himself as the leader, he just dismisses her, even though she might actually be right. And so they'll go north to the unnamed evil. We very quickly skip to totally not Gandalf in his bathrobe, who was probably been plugged from an insane asylum, and he arrives at a very peculiar hut, and because we already seen the trailer and we seen the setting, we know who that is. And can you guess? It is Tom Bombadil from Alabama. He's ready to farm your lands and just be a jolly good singer all the way through. Probably has a bottle of homemade whiskey somewhere. And this is where we get the first major member berry. We have Old Man Ironwood, and if you remember from the Lord of the Rings books, we had Old Man Willow, who has also been portrayed in Fangor, where Treebeard was actually the one to calm him down, which was a little bit from the books, where it was Tom Bombadil who calmed him down right next to his house in the garden. And they said that he should sleep, eat, grow, and he should not be waking. Well, we have the same thing here. However, aside from the movies and the books, this does not actually work. This is just here to say, hey, you remember that scene in the books? And you know that Tom Bombadil wasn't in the movies, but we're gonna input every single scene that we can with him in this show, in this setting, in the middle of the desert where this tree somehow still grows, and we're gonna bring you back with some absolutely classical quotes that you've already know. We're so good at storytelling and we're gonna be all up in our buzz, yeah baby. So the tree swallows totally not Gandalf, and for some absolutely no reason at all, the scene doesn't continue. And it changes to Nori, and I think her name was Poppy?
I'm Poppy. I'm Poppy. I'm Poppy.
The companion? I still can't remember the name. And they wake up after the absolute storm that totally not Gandalf produced in the last episode, and they don't know where they are. After a bit of waddling around, they meet this guy thing who they immediately recognize as one of their own, a Harfoot. But wouldn't you know it? He's not a Harfoot. He is, in fact, a store. Do you remember stores? Stores are one of the 3 main Hobbit branches, and they are very, very famous for being a bit bigger, having bigger feet, and one other thing, oh, I don't remember, was it that important? Alright, they live near rivers exclusively. How can someone consciously made a mistake? I'll tell you how. It's not a mistake. They're deliberately changing every bit of lore they have the rights to and twisting it so they can make new lore, and they can claim that this lore is their official lore. This is how they operate. None of this is by mistake. None of this is accidental. None of this is made by someone not knowing the lore. They have read every bit of lore and every bit of information, and I can guarantee you, I can bet on anything that you would want that they have deliberately done this to change the lore, to change everything that they can, to pervert every bit of information and place it in all the wrong places. There is no way, nobody can convince me that this was done by mistake or by simply not knowing your story or your source material. But moving on. So after a bit of chit-chat and lovey-dovey eyes between this nobody, as he calls him, or Mericante, I don't know what his name was. I cannot play that again just to see. They are brought to the store village in a canyon in the rocks where they somehow built their holes. And there's an absolutely idiotic comment from Nori that goes, Harfoot's living in holes seems unnatural. I know that they're trying to present the traveling days of the hobbits, where they were still traveling around trying to find their place, but this is the second age. This should not be present here. It's absolutely idiotic. Just these little comments are deliberately put there just to throw you off and just to write a bit more lore, because in years, if people kind of forget about the official lore and everything, and the plan for this show to be the predominant history source of official Tolkien lore as they probably want it to be, they're going to turn to this and say, oh, this happened like this, Tolkien meant this, and this, and this, and this, and have you completely forget about the books and the official lore. Now, this is not going to happen because people are not that stupid. However, I'm telling you that for me, watching this is what the showrunners are trying to do, and probably that's their master plan with the show. Now, one thing that they did get right is that stores were a matriarchal society, and they were run by a mother or a grandmother who ran the houses and the people. And so this is one, I don't remember her name as well. She actually kind of cool. She's kind of cool. I did enjoy her rather brief but cool performance. She has that imposing mother figure that I think they were going for. So this is one small point that I'm going to get for this character's performance. We have a couple of scenes with the Dark Wizard, who instructs his minions to go look for the Harfoots, and he will go and deal with the Istar himself. We cut back in the most grievous way to Tom Bombadil, who actually said the words that I just mentioned, and he awoke the tree to release Totally Not Gandalf. And one of the things that absolutely hurt me in this situation is how devoid of any feeling was his line presentation. He just said it exactly like he was reading the lines for the first time. There was no emotion. It was something like, go eat, drink water, rest, grow strong, sleep, sleep. absolutely no emotion, and this was supposed to be him imposing his will on the tree or on the horn, if we're actually trying to be lore accurate. And he has to be like similar to Gandalf when he raises his voice in the movies and becomes this tall dark figure, and this should have been what the scene was, him asserting his will, maybe not in a dark way or in a threatening way, just more powerful. And he was just like reading a receipt or a cook, and we get this absolutely amazing still from the show where he's like, tell me that you're looking at this picture and you're not thinking about a corn commercial or small farms produce commercial. I dare you to not think that when you're looking at this picture. A bit later, and totally not, Gandalf is taking a bath and listening to Tom Bombadil singing, and we actually hear Goldberry singing as well, which was actually going to be a surprise for me to see because she wasn't mentioned as featuring in the TV series, and I was right. Tom Bombadil just says, no, there's nobody here with me, just me. No, even though the song could be very clearly heard from everyone who was watching it, and he actually says, Goldberry, don't be shy. But for some reason they didn't show her. Maybe they'll show her afterwards, I don't know, but this was actually a pretty weird scene for me, because why tease it like that and have nobody in there? Then we get to Tom Bombadil casually explaining what he is, and here is your next major member, Barry. He explains that he is the eldest, that he was here before the trees and the water, before the first rain and the first tree grew. And this is plucked straight from the book, a bit changed in terms of what exactly he's saying, but this is something that he's explained as in the books. And once again, this is something designed to just have you, hey, you remember this from the book? You said you said you missed Tom Bombadil in the movies. Now here he is, and we're gonna cram everything from the books here, even though it makes absolutely no sense. This is just in line with everything else that doesn't make sense. Totally not Gandalf not remembering who he is, and Tom Bombadil somehow is gonna help him remember, is gonna train him. For what? Tom Bombadil is not that kind of a creature. He's not concerned with the things that are happening in the world. You're making like Master Yoda the Hermit. He's actually called the Hermit in the episode. We get the scene from the trailer. Is it my task to fight the fire? And this comes a little bit after we get an explanation about who the Dark Wizard is. Spoiler alert, he is not a human. After episode 3, there were some speculations that the Dark Wizard is going to be the future Witch King of Angmar. And the Witch King of Angmar was a human who was corrupted by Sauron with the ring. And it is revealed that the Dark Wizard is actually an Istar, like Gandalf. Tom Bombadil says, you're not the first Istar to sit on my table, which can only mean one of two things. If we're trying to even loosely keep with the lore, this is going to be either one of the Blue Wizards, for who we know almost nothing from the official lore, or this is going to be actually Saruman, which makes it even more confusing because, first of all, Saruman is already here. And second of all, why reveal him as a Dark Wizard now? You have the Third Age for that. He was good, or presumably good, and he was corrupted very, very late in the lore. And I know that I'm trying to review these episodes and the show on its own without touching the lore, but in this case, I cannot simply do that because all the inconsistencies that exist in the show as of its own are very tightly connected to the lore. And I'm not going to say, oh, this is outside of the lore, so it's bad, this is outside of the lore, this is bad, and so on. I'm saying that this is outside of the lore and it is bad because you're basically removing and trying to change the lore of the next age, which is absolutely impossible because it is concisely written. It's not unfinished tales, it's not some loose notes that Tolkien wrote on a late summer evening that you're getting your information and your lore from. What this show is trying to change, and presumably is going to try to change with the Dark Wizard, is that Saruman is being revealed as evil from the very beginning. This can happen because you're meddling not with unsaid or possibly dual meaning things that Tolkien might or might not have said throughout time. You are meddling with the books, which are very precisely written, explaining in great detail what is what. If it turns out to be the Blue Wizard, one of the Blue Wizards, sorry, you're still messing with what was officially written. And that's bad. We then cut to our lovely elves. And I thought this was actually Sauron's previous form, in which he was made into a pincushion in episode 1. I was wrong, but it looked like him. And they see the Barrow Wights, and this is something that I want to admit when I saw this. Visually, admittedly, they looked awesome. I enjoyed their style, the way they were made, the way they moved, the way they were presented. I love that. It was cool. I really enjoyed that. What I didn't enjoy is how the fight progressed. This has to be one of the slowest fights I have ever seen in my life. They were swinging the swords like they were going in slow motion, and the Barrow-Wights did nothing. They were like slowly moving towards them with chains that were initially presented as just snapping and pulling you inside one of the tombs, and afterwards they're just slowly like floating around, and the elves are just going like "Wah, wah," and there is no kickback, no nothing, no retaliation. They just sit there calm as hell, looking around, and it's like, okay, we should go here, move there, move, get down, get to the chopper. Nothing in this scene produced any sort of tension when watching it. When you have such a scene, when you're surrounded, and when you have some ethereal things that cannot be killed by normal weapons, you need the scene to build up tension for the viewer. Nothing like that was happening. Oh, and did I mention that this looked exactly like when the Ringwraiths were surrounding Frodo and his friends on the hilltop, and they were standing in a circle as well, but that scene actually had a lot of background music, a lot of tension, a lot of camera work that did it wonders for them. This here didn't do anything. Yes, the Barrow-Wights were visually pleasing, but apart from that, it was dull. The action scenes up to this point for 4 episodes were absolutely dull. The only good action scene was made with the horse Beric when he kicked the orc so hard he drove him through a branch in a tree. That was amazing. And that, if that's the most amazing thing that you can produce with so much money for your show, then you're in trouble. So Doogie Elrond taps into his lore power and says that only weapons that were buried with them can kill him. I'm not gonna argue. Okay, they killed him pretty darn fast, and they continue moving forward. Oh yeah, and the Black Elf has tragically died. Any mentions of classical movie tropes should be posted down in the comments. Thank you. We finally move to Isildur and the party that is searching for Theo, who has apparently been taken by something not human. We already know it's the Entwives. So why the fake suspense? And they're getting ready the next morning to go and continue the search, with Astrid trying to lead them north, where she thinks that they're gonna find them because the woods there are old. But our resident Hood Elf discovers that she is actually a spy for Adar. He explains this by saying that he discovered the burnt mark on her neck, how he saw that, if her hair is constantly falling down on her neck, I don't know, but he discovers it, and then they do the most stupid thing that you can imagine. They take her with them to search. Now, you might think that this is a good idea if she was placed in front to lead them under some threat of violence, but no, she's just walking with them, and she's talking with Isildur, who apparently they both like each other now, because why not? And she serves no purpose here except for being love bait for Isildur and to show us that they're going to have a blooming love later. Or are they? And to make it even more laughable and to possibly try to justify her coming there, Isildur is trapped in quicksand, and when Hudelf guy tries to get him out, he's also getting stuck there, and they both fall into the quicksand. Will Astrid run away and abandon them? No, she decides to be a good guy and tries to pull them with a branch. How is she going to pull them out with a branch if they're both down there and she's alone up there? I don't know, but she tries to. Valiant efforts. And then we see an ugly, possibly a predecessor of a Goa'uld who is apparently lurking. In order to avoid any suspense, he's quickly killed, and of course they laugh it off. We cut back to the stores, and this is where in the story they try to justify, in a way, why the stores are in the desert. The leader of the stores brings Snorri to a mural of some kind where she explains that one of their ancestors, who's called Roririn Barrows, traveled with a passing Harfoot group in order to find the Nuzan, I don't remember again, which would be a plentiful land with a lot of water and a lot of grass and nourishment. And apparently this ancestor was also an ancestor to the Harfoot's leader, who is also named Burrows. And this is your justification of why the stores are there. And for some reason, they're just too afraid to move anywhere or send scouts or send 2 or 3 people just to scour the neighboring lands to see what might be out there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. So they have basically lived in that canyon for generations, and only one person has dared to go there, even though they are travelers and settlers, and they do travel around in search for water. So any logic in that is non-existent, because you would think that they would want to explore and find better ways to living, especially if their colony is growing, if the sight of so many children in earlier scenes was merit to go for. After several non-interesting things that happen, we skip back to Galadriel and Elrond, who again argue about the ring. She tries to convince him that the ring is actually helping her, and he's showing her very clearly what would happen if they don't succeed in their mission. And we actually kind of see a small glimmer of wisdom in her. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think that she's currently is suddenly getting wise, but it is getting a bit like she's slowly maturing. It, I don't know if that's a good thing, but it is something different that when it's absent throughout all the series, it's very easy to spot. And it would have been great to see that, but unfortunately it lasts only a couple of minutes. We get to nightfall with Isildur and his love bait Istrid, and she's released because she helped them, and of course, to nobody's surprise, she betrays him, or she tries to. She's not yet there. The little altercation is interrupted by guess who? We got Ents, baby, and Entwives. And again, I must say something that I think it's positive. Visually, and somewhat in terms of character of what they do, the Ent and Entwife that we see are kind of cool. They're okay. I would not say they're great, because if I have to be honest, the visual effect is no better than in The Lord of the Rings. So you can derive your thoughts from that as much as you like. But they're cool, and the Entwife is very angry because they've burned the forest. And it's kind of rehashing the scene from Isengard with the Ents and Merry and Pippin, although they don't go to war in this scene. Hudelf engages in Riz mode and succeeds in calming the Entwife down, who wants to kill them at that point, and promises to make amends for everything that was done wrong. How does it work so fast if, by what we know about Ents, they're very common, very slowly change their opinions? I don't know, but let's roll with it. It's a short scene, and I don't think they're gonna go anywhere with it. Then we see our Galadriel 5 army scouting at some orcs when suddenly, oh no, he has been shot by a passing orcs that are trying to actually hunt a horse. In an attempt to keep him silent, Galadriel inadvertently uses her magical ring and manages to actually cure him from the arrow. I don't know how that happens with her ring, but apparently rings can do that as well. And here we come to what is probably the worst scene in the episode. Something that at least could have looked good choreographically. I think I said the word right. And it was dull as a blade that has been smashed into granite at least 1,000 times. Galadriel gives the ring to Elrond to keep safe and goes full girl boss. And when I mean full girl boss, she basically just stands in front of the orcs with 2 knives, not even getting her bow ready beforehand. And none of the orcs, many of which were archers as seen in previous scenes, tries to shoot her. And she starts absolutely destroying them. She kicks a lantern, she fires some arrows, nobody's trying to even push her off the holes, and right up until the very end when she tries to escape with it, in which she's brought down, and wouldn't you know it, it's a dog. And by the looks of it, this is going to be the scene that predates what we've seen in the trailer, that they're working together to stop Sauron at Eregion. So this was it, the absolute full breakdown of the episode. I missed a couple of scenes, but these scenes were so dull and so mediocre, even compared to the episode, that I just didn't feel like talking about them. The overall feeling of the season so far, apart from the lore, is that it is absolutely dull. The fight scenes don't work, the suspense scenes don't work, the conversation scenes do not work. They're forced, they're without any life, they're without any substance, and they don't serve any purpose whatsoever. You have tons of rehashed dialogue that is just meant to give you nostalgia, and it is done in the most obnoxious way possible because it doesn't fit. It's not where it's supposed to be. It shouldn't be in that setting. Tom Bombadil could have been made much better even existing in this show, but no, he's just done like as this actor who just had to wear a costume and just rehash some of the lines, because that's pretty much what he did. He didn't have any wisdom to bestow, he didn't have anything, he was just a bit cryptic and just saying what we have read in the books. That's it, that nothing else has happened with him. And when you combine it with the overall storyline, it just doesn't fit at all. Nothing in this series fits, and I'm not even talking about lore-wise. It doesn't fit within the story. It doesn't make sense for any of them to do what they're doing. You have illogical decisions from the elves, you have stupid conversations from Nori and Poppy, you have things that go nowhere, things that are happening either too fast or too slow, and nothing seems to be stitched together just right. And I don't know why that was, because this is a show with an absolutely ginormous budget. With such a budget, you could have made so much better things. And I will admit, the CGI with the barrel whites and the ants is nice, but that's like 10% of what everything should be. Everything else is at best boring. And I don't even know what else I can say about the show, because it doesn't have anything else to go for. At this point, it's just member berries, which doesn't even work properly because it's so far out and far-fetched that you can't even make a proper connection. And if you do, you just get angry because this connection is tarnished from what you're trying to present. I don't know. I am absolutely tired and exhausted. I still can't believe that it was going to be this bad. I actually wanted to give it a proper chance, at least to be better than season 1, to at least have a story of its own, because if you're going to tarnish the lore, at least try to make a good fan fiction of it. And they couldn't even manage that. And I'm sorry, but that 50% loss of viewership that we're seeing posted on Twitter is well deserved, and I think it's going to continue to drop. I guess we'll have to wait to see next week if anything of substance will be shown in the span of 1 hour with episode 5. Anyways, this is all I have for today. Thank you for watching this far if you have. This was the full breakdown of the episode. This is a new form that I'm trying because I reviewed the first 3 episodes very quickly without reviewing anything. I just placed my general thoughts. Now I want to review the episodes in depth because I have a lot to say about them. I have a lot to say about each scene that produced mostly negative emotions, but still produced emotions. And this is the way that I'm going to do things with the Rings of Power and probably other TV series in the future. I will be posting at each video spoiler alerts and etc. so that if you're interested in the show, so do not spoil it for you. So thank you very much for watching. Please follow me on my socials and on my Patreon, where I raise money for homeless animals and animals in need and in shelters. Click that like and subscribe button if you enjoy my content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers and stay fresh.